What if I told you some NFL millionaires fly Spirit Airlines, wear fake jewelry, and live in their parents' basements? We're talking guys who earned $50 million, $70 million, even $180 million, and they refused to spend any of it, starting with a wide receiver who literally slept inside a stadium to save on rent. #1. Chad Johnson. Chad Ochocinco. Johnson was one of the flashiest players in NFL history, 6-time Pro Bowler, touchdown celebrations that got him fined, a personality bigger than any stadium. But here's what nobody expected. This man saved 83% of everything he ever made. How? He literally lived inside the Cincinnati Bengals stadium for his first 2 seasons.
Why are you telling me go rent a house, go buy a house, go rent a condo, when everything I need is right here in the facility at Paul Brown?
Right.
When his coaches told him to get an apartment, Johnson asked why. The facility had showers, a cafeteria, TVS, gaming systems, a couch to sleep on. In his mind, paying rent made 0 sense. Head coach Marvin Lewis eventually kicked him out, told him it was time to be responsible and get his own place. So Johnson moved into a 1-bedroom down the road. But the frugal habits never stopped. All his jewelry, fake, cubic zirconia from Claire's. His logic? Under bright lights, nobody can tell the difference anyway.
What's the point?
Right.
There's nothing I can buy that's bigger than my name alone. So it made no sense.
His clothes, affordable brands, look-alike sneakers instead of designer originals. Despite earning $49 million over 11 years, Johnson flew Spirit Airlines and ate McDonald's regularly. The man built a persona of flash and excess, but behind the scenes, he was quietly stacking every dollar. #2. Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski is a 3-time Super Bowl champion, one of the greatest tight ends ever. And over his career, he earned more than $70 million in NFL contracts. He has never spent a single dollar of it.
All the stuff that you've done off the field, it's rumored that you never spent a dollar of your NFL earnings. Is that true?
Technically, Drew Rosenhaus actually gave me a $50,000 upfront marketing budget at the beginning, and you got to pay him back over the time, the first 50 grand you made. So I actually took that 50 grand. I bought me a car. I paid for my spot up in New England actually with it. I'm very frugal, and lived, with a roommate my first couple of years. I didn't know how long the NFL was going to last. I was a 2nd-round pick, so it was like a 4-year, $4 million deal. And I was like, if I play this contract out, I'll be set for life.
He lived with a roommate, drove modest cars, wore the same jeans and shoes until they fell apart. When teammates bought mansions and exotic cars, Gronk focused on keeping expenses as low as possible. His first car and apartment, paid for with a $50,000 agent bonus, not his NFL salary. By the time he retired the first time in 2019, Gronk had saved every dollar he ever earned playing football. That's over $70 million sitting untouched. #3. Alfred Morris. Most NFL players pull up to practice in Ferraris and Range Rovers. Alfred Morris pulled up in a 1991 Mazda he bought for $2. $2.
So then I came up and I walked in, and he's like, that was you in that piece of junk? I was like, oh, that Bentley? I was like, yeah, I'll be jealous too. And they just crack up laughing. I like that, the Bentley. So it stuck, so it became the Bentley.
Morris got the car from his pastor during his junior year at Florida Atlantic. It barely ran. He named it Bentley, put a fake Bentley license plate on the front, and kept driving it straight into the NFL. When Morris got drafted by Washington in 2012, he didn't upgrade. When he rushed for over 1,600 yards as a rookie, he still drove the same car. When he signed a $5.5 million contract with Dallas, Bentley came with him. Morris had the car shipped from DC to Texas just to make team workouts.
Mazda 626. Start showing the car.
His explanation was simple. The car kept him grounded, reminded him where he came from and how hard he worked to get here. Mazda actually heard about the story and offered to restore it for him. New engine, new interior, fresh paint. They even ordered parts from Japan because the car was so old.
Man, I got my baby back. She looks way better.
#3- Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has made more money than most quarterbacks in NFL history, an $84 million fully guaranteed deal with Minnesota. then a $180 million contract with Atlanta. But for years, this man lived in his parents' basement.
I wish it was LL Bean or Eddie Bauer. Maybe that fits my brand a little more, but my wife dresses me, by the way. And it happened to be Patagonia.
During off seasons, Cousins and his wife would stay in either his parents' basement in Michigan or her parents' basement in Georgia. Not because they couldn't afford a house, because they didn't want to waste money on something temporary. No rent, no mortgage payments, just free living while they planned their next move carefully.
This was the scene in Minneapolis tonight. Kirk Cousins jet-setted into town with his wife and infant son, where dad's expected to sign a 3-year, $84 million deal. Every penny is guaranteed.
The van became a symbol of everything Cousins believed about money. Practical, reliable, zero interest in making a statement. #4- Lynch. Marshawn Lynch earned close to $50 million playing football. Super Bowl champion, 5-time Pro Bowler, one of the most iconic running backs of his generation. And people close to him all say the same thing. Marshawn lives like he's broke.
I'm just about that action, boss.
All right, how about the effort of the offensive line to keep pushing against the defense that attacks so aggressively?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Growing up in Oakland, Lynch saw how fast money could disappear. Watched talented people end up with nothing after their careers ended. So when he reached the NFL, he made a quiet decision. He would never touch his football salary, ever. Instead, Lynch lived entirely off endorsement money. Skittles, Nike, Pepsi, Microsoft. Those deals covered his daily expenses, while every NFL paycheck went straight into savings.
Across the field.
That's one of the more ridiculous things I've ever seen.
It's Marshawn Lynch, not Desmond Bishop.
By the time he retired, Lynch had reportedly saved over $40 million from football alone. His spending habits became legendary for how cheap they were. Friends joked that he always looked for the cheapest option when eating out. His cousin, rapper Mr. Fab, said Lynch would debate whether something cost $10 or $15 before deciding. #5- Ryan Broyles. Ryan Broyles was a record-setting receiver at Oklahoma, second-round pick for the Detroit Lions, earned over $3.6 million in NFL contracts. He lived on $60,000 a year.
Living on a $60,000 annual budget isn't that unusual, but it is when you make more.
When Broyles entered the league, a financial advisor gave him advice that changed his life. Figure out your monthly needs, set a strict budget, invest everything else. So that's exactly what he did. Broyles and his wife created an annual budget of around $60,000 total. Housing, food, entertainment, everything. The rest of his millions went into investments, retirement accounts, and real estate. His car? A 2005 Chevy Trailblazer from college. His wife drove a Mazda 3. When they moved, Broyles loaded the U-Haul himself to save thousands on professional movers. No cable TV, just Apple TV and Netflix. Meals out were rare and carefully budgeted. Vacations planned with Groupon coupons to maximize value. Broyles checked his investments daily, learned from people smarter and wealthier than him, took full advantage of the NFL's 401k match program that most players ignored. #6 Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, earned nearly $56 million over his career, one of the most reliable receivers of his era, but he never stopped being a Kansas farmer.
I think growing up on a family farm, that's where our income came from, and we relied on everyone to do their part. So you're running some very valuable machinery, working with animals, whatever it is that you have to be disciplined with.
Nelson grew up on his family's farm in Riley County. Long days, hard work. Money is treated with extreme caution. That mentality never left him. While other players vacationed in the off-season, Nelson went home to work 12-hour days, driving combines, planting crops, managing cattle operations. He openly said he identified more as a farmer than a football player.
We just kind of did what Dad told us to, and he expected us to do it the way he wanted it done, and it's just how we went about it. I mean, he told us what field to go work or something like that, and we'd go do it and come back, and he'd have another thing for us. So,
instead of luxury homes and sports cars, Nelson invested in farmland and equipment, assets tied to the life he actually loved. His frugality became legendary among teammates. On road trips, Nelson would skip team dinners entirely just to save his per diem money. While everyone else went out to expensive restaurants, he stayed in the hotel eating the hotel's snacks. #7 Glover Quin. Glover Quin spent a decade in the NFL with Houston and Detroit, signed a 5-year, $23.5 million contract, one of the league's most reliable safeties. He lived on $6,000 a month.
I would say being smart, being disciplined.
When Quin entered the league in 2009, he created a strict plan. Live on 30% of his income. Save and invest the other 70%. No exceptions. That discipline never wavered. Even after signing his massive Detroit contract, Quin kept driving the same Yukon Denali he bought when he was first drafted.
A Yukon Denali is a really nice car that's going to cost you at that time 70. I think I got mine for 72.
To teammates, he probably seemed cheap. To Quin, he was being smart. He studied finance in college, worked with advisors, put his money into publicly traded companies and private businesses, treated investing with the same seriousness he brought to football. By the time Quin retired in his early 30s, his investments had grown so well that reports suggested they were on track to match his total NFL earnings. 78% of NFL players go broke within a few years of retirement. These guys refuse to become a statistic. If you want more stories about athletes who do things differently, hit subscribe. Drop a comment with who surprised you the most.